guys, so I wanted to just take a second to have the notes in a YouTube video and then to do an example with you guys. So what we're doing in 14.4 is adding and subtracting fractions. That only happens if they have a common denominator. So the first example we have is what happens if they already have a common denominator. We just add up the numerators or subtract up the numerators. Okay, so pause the video, work this out. All right, at the bottom you have some steps. Now going into example 2 and beyond, we are looking at what happens if we have different denominators, if they don't match. How do I get an LCD so that they then will match? And so again, take a second to pause the video and work through A, B, C, and D with different denominators. And you can see, let me try and organize this a little bit better. You can see where these problems are. So there's kind of how it breaks down. All right, now you can see all the things. So we've got example A, B, C, and D. So pause the video, look through those. All right, these next two, example 3A and B, are on a different page. But again, pause the video, try those. Now the one we're going to do is example 4, letter B. So 4A, I've already got there for you on the screen. Again, pause the video. Actually, it's not finished. Let me get this finished so you have it. All over, I don't know what happened. All over x minus 2, x minus 1. This top I can factor out as 7. And then those will cancel. All right, now that one's done. I don't know what happened to the rest of that. What we're going to spend time on in this video is example 4B. And there are plenty of other videos. Please take the time to go watch them. The best way to get better at adding and subtracting these fractions is just to keep doing them over and over and over again. So, example 4B. I've got 1 over x plus 3 minus 2x squared over x squared minus 9. So the first thing I'm looking at is, do the denominators match? No, they don't. And so now I need to go through the LCD to make them match. Well, I can factor the x squared minus 9. I can't do anything with x plus 3. I can factor this thing. It's one of my difference of squares, which we factored as x plus 3, x minus 3. So I'm going to rewrite both of these so that I have this new factored denominator. Now, the denominators still don't match. I can find the least common denominator. The question is, do they have anything in common already? Yes. They both have this x plus 3. So I can write that in the center. And then the first fraction, there's nothing else in the denominator. It's just x plus 3. The second fraction has this x minus 3 that I also need in my LCD. So my LCD is going to be x plus 3, x minus 3. Now the goal is to get both of these fractions to have the LCD as the denominator, to have x plus 3, x minus 3. Well, this first fraction, it already has an x plus 3, but I can multiply top and bottom by x minus 3. And x minus 3. All right, I'm going to have x plus 3, and then that one's still technically going to be there, but I don't need to write it because 1 times x minus 3 is just x minus 3. The second fraction, it already has the LCD as the denominator. So I'm going to have 2x squared, and then that fraction's not changing at all because it already has the LCD as the denominator. Okay, now the denominators match, so I can put the numerators together on one fraction. So I will have, I'm just going to write this as 1 times x minus 3 is x minus 3 minus 2x squared. Okay, so that's the first numerator. That one's the second numerator. And that came from right there. All over the LCD, x plus 3, x minus 3. All right, now I'm looking for any like terms. Well, I have x minus 3 minus 2x squared. There are no like terms, and so my final answer is going to be x minus 3 minus 2x squared. Technically, I should check this to factor. So let's check to see if the numerator factors. Well, the order is a little funny, but that's still negative 2x squared plus x minus 3. I would need to factor out a negative 1 and have 2x squared minus x plus 3. Okay. Now I am going to write down my A is 2, B is negative 1, C is 3. A times C on top is 6, negative 1. I've got a 3 and a 2 that could factor to 6. And then my signs, I would have positive 3, negative 2 would add, oops, I need to switch those around. Negative 3, positive 2 would add to negative 1, but if I were to multiply those, that would get me to negative 6. So I could try my 5 and 1, because those are my other, 6 and 1, those are my other two factors of 6. If I had 6, negative 6, and like negative 1, that would multiply to positive 6, but that does not add to negative 1. So this thing ends up not factoring, which what that means is I just leave the answer right here. If it did factor, then I would cancel. But because this one doesn't factor, I can just leave it back here. The order of the numerator doesn't really matter. You could leave it like that. But typically, Hawks will accept it in whatever order it came in the question.